2 sheets.
Everyone gets 2?
Yeah. Okay, welcome everybody to the Father-Son Learning Program tonight. Everybody come sit down, boys. Let's go. Actually, Edmund, can I have a sheet? Over here. There's 2 sheets. 2 sheets, right? 2 or 3? Number 3. It's 3. Can I have? It's 2. 1 2-sided and then 1. Chaim, can I have a second page? Thanks. Here are the papers. Anybody following the link on their phone? Anybody following the link on their phone?
I don't have it as a text. I have a picture of it here.
Okay. Okay, I just want to.
Here's the link.
What does it look like now?
What do you mean? Was it the stream?
It's streaming now. Okay, everybody, please take from their sheets or source sheets. I'm just going to give a 5-minute introduction and then you can go learn with your parents and then we'll come back in about 20-25 minutes. Okay, so tonight's topic is going to be that of Onas Devarim. Since the yeshiva every month has a midah of the month, so this month we are working on dibur, speech, being careful of what we say and how we say things. So I thought it was very important that tonight the Father and Son Learning Program should be about the Isser, the prohibition of Onas Devarim. Onas Devarim is causing somebody pain through speech. Right? The famous adage that we used to grow up with, that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, is absolutely false. Right? In the Torah, we do not look at it like that at all, and we will soon see a Gemara that actually says pretty much the opposite. That words have a tremendous effect on a person. Adversely, they could affect somebody. They could hurt somebody tremendously, cause a lot of damage. And the opposite is also true. A good word, a positive word to somebody, as Rabbi Amalei said in his Tuesday Shmuz last week, if you remember, a positive word can propel somebody to great heights. So we have a lot of power, of koach, in our dibur. So tonight we're going to speak about Onas Devarim. Just to give you a few minutes of 2-3 minutes of introduction before you get to learn, have the big schus of learning with your fathers or grandfathers. First of all, appreciate that you're able to do that, Baruch Hashem. Take a second just to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu that you have the ability and the schus to learn with your fathers or grandfathers. And that's something big and should not be taken for granted at all. As you look in source number 1, and this you'll learn with your fathers, but just to open up this idea of Onas Devarim, there's an Isser in the Torah, a Torah prohibition of a person causing pain via their dibur, via their words. The pasuk says, if you see here the source number 1, just quickly, and then you'll do the rest yourself. The pasuk says in Parshas Kedoshim, I believe, Perek Chavhei, the Gemara tells us, and you'll see Rashi when you prepare, that this is the Isser of causing pain via words. Lo sono ish es amito. A person is not allowed to cause pain to his fellow national, somebody in Klal Yisrael, amito. V'yareisem elechi shofir God, ki ani Hashem Elokechem, for I am your God. So this is the pasuk in the Torah, and we'll see it's based on the Gemara in Bava Metzia, and Rashi will bring it down, of the Isser of causing somebody pain. Now there are many facets to this Isser. Okay, it comes up in many different ways. Obviously, embarrassing somebody falls under this Isser. Saying a hurtful word, whether it's in public or even in private, is also going to fall under this Isser. But then there are other things that are not so well known. I'll just give you an example. Maybe something you'll think about. You go into a store. Let's say you bought something that you know you can no longer return, but you want to make sure you got the best price. You bought a phone, and you want to make sure that you got the best price for this phone, but you can't return the phone. But you want to fulfill your curiosity, so you go into Shmerel's phone store, right? You go to Reuven's phone store for the sole purpose of asking him how much the phone is, so that you can know for yourself, you can feel good about yourself that you got the lowest price. Can you go into that store for that sole purpose? You have no intent whatsoever to buy from him. Your whole purpose is just to go and ask how much it is. Seemingly there's nothing wrong with that, right? But we'll see after you prepare the sources that there might actually be a problem with that. Okay? Maybe you're causing a hurtful word, maybe with your words, or with what you may lead the person, the salesman on, that could be hurtful to him. We'll see what that means. You'll see in the Gemara. Okay, so there are many, many different facets. Waking somebody up, right? Let's say you have roommates, or you have siblings at home, and they're trying to sleep, and then you want to watch a game. Is there a problem of not giving them the sleep that they want or that they deserve? A lot of issues come up when we talk about Onas Devarim that we might not have thought of. And the reason why I chose this topic is precisely for that reason. This is probably the most important of the halachos bein adam lechavero, that people just go on in their days and in their businesses and they don't realize that this could be an issue, l'tov or l'ra. Meaning, when we see that the Isser is so severe, we can learn from that the positive, how impactful our positive words can be with each other. That being said, I would like to value all of the opportunity now to start the sources with your parents. Okay, it goes in the order as I do all my shiurim. It starts from the Torah's source, and then it will move through the Gemara, Chazal, and then ultimately to the Shulchan Aruch. And if you can get to it, practical applications. If you don't get to this part, it's okay. I've given you, most of it is translated except for the last 2 or 3 sources. But in Mirz Hashem we'll speak those outside. So I wish you all much hatzlacha in your learning, and let's get started for the next 25 minutes. Good luck, hatzlacha to all fathers, grandfathers, and talmidim.
He was on my side.
Do you want me to send you pictures?
Okay, if everybody could come back. I hope you're able to navigate through most of the Marmakomos, most of the sources. So we'll go over the sources now. A few things, additional things I'd like to add, and hopefully we'll come out with a few good halachic psakim. So as we said, the Isser is from the pasuk Lo tono yisha samisa v'yiresa milokecha ani Hashem Elokecha. The Isser is causing somebody pain through dibur, through your words. As Rashi quotes the Gemara, I'm going to go through the sources quickly due to lack of time. I don't want to take away too much time. I know football's in a few minutes here, so I don't want to take those fathers away. Shaiwatz, I'm sure you're waiting to watch the next game. So Rashi brings down the Gemara in Bav Metzia that tells us that a person is not, this is a famous line that we always say, you're not allowed to remind about tshuva of their past deeds. Right? That causes somebody pain, it causes them embarrassment. As Rashi quotes over here on the Pasuk, Per Chafei, Pasuk Yudzayin, Kan Hizir Alonos Devarim. This is the Pasuk that warns Klal Yisrael to be very careful about their words that they speak. Shelo Yaknit Ish Etzaveh, you shall not belittle your fellow Jew. Lo yasienu eitza she'ena hogenes lo. You should not give him advice that is not fitting for him. Oftentimes, chas v'shalom, but sometimes we have a yetzer hara to give somebody advice that might be beneficial for us, but not beneficial for the person asking the advice. That's usher to do. We actually, one of the al-chetz that we say on Yom Kippur is due to this, that we give an eitza she'ena hogenes, that we give an eitza that's not fitting, really fit for the person. V'im tomar, if you're going to say, mi yodeim neskavanti l'ra, who's going to really know? He's never going to figure out that I gave him bad advice. L'kach nema v'yarisam l'kach. That's why he says, no, you have to fear God. Kadosh Baruch Hu is yodea machshavos. He knows all of our intent. He knows why we're giving advice. He knows why we're saying things. Let's scroll down quickly to source number 3, which is the main source for Nas Devarim, the Gemara in Bav Metzia, Daf Nun Ches Amud Beis. The Gemara says, Tanu Rabbana lo tonu yishas am yiso. So the Gemara says, what is this talking about? It's talking about onos devarim, onos mammon. Onos mammon is overcharging somebody the market value more than a sixth of the price. The Gemara concludes and says it's talking about onos devarim. What is onos devarim? The Gemara gives a few examples, which is a little bit uncharacteristical of the Gemara to go through so many examples, but the Gemara goes in the chinuch, as you saw, says that the Gemara, the Chazal were very, very wordy and very, very careful to give many examples of why it is asr and what is asr. So says the Gemara, one of the most famous ones, Im hayu chamar mevakshin tvua mimenu. If you have the wagon drivers and they're asking where could we buy food, where could we buy fodder for our animals, lo yomer lehem lechu eitzel ploni. Don't you say go 3 blocks away and you know very well the guy doesn't sell it. You're playing a trick on him. That's an Isser D'Oraisa. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Af lo yitle einav ala mekach b'shah she'en lo domim. You cannot place your eyes on a sellable item that you have no intent to buy. So I want to stop here for a second. There's an Isser D'Oraisa for a person to go what's it called? Window shopping, seemingly. Right? There'd be also for a person to go to look at an item that is sellable, that the mocher is selling. If you know full well that you're not going to buy it, you can't go there. Why? Why is that one of those examples? What's usher about going window shopping? Anybody have any suggestions? Yeah, Judah. Excellent. Right? You're going to lead the seller on. You're going to lead the salesman on. He's going to think that he's going to make a commission, he's going to make a sale, and you have absolutely no intent to buy the product. You're leading him on. You're causing him undue tsar, pain, because you're going to go, you're going to look at the item, you're going to smile, you're going to say, oh, very nice. You walk out and he thinks that he might have been able to make a sale, which from the get-go he never was able to. That's leading him on. That's an Isser D'Oraisa. So going back to the question that I lead it off with, if you have a phone that you bought already, and your sole intent for going into Shmuel's electronics store is just to find out the price, but you have no intent whatsoever to buy the item, it would be usher to go into that Jewish-owned store, okay? If you're going to lead on the Jewish salesman or the owner, he's going to think that he's going to make a sale, and he's actually not, and you have no intent, and you know you're not going to buy anything. You don't have any money. However, some guys ask me oftentimes, what about if you go to like a mall, a strip mall, Roosevelt Field, if you live in Long Island, those types of things, that you're not leading anybody on. Because everybody knows that there are people just walk in and walk out even though they have no intent. We're talking about if you're on Cedar Lane, you're on Central Avenue, wherever it is, and you go and intently go into a Jewish store, and you go with the sole intent just to assuage your feelings that you got the cheapest price, and you go in and you have no intent, that's going to be asr. Okay, any questions on that? It's very, very important halacha. We oftentimes do that. We don't know any better. Yeah. That's fine. If you have any sort of small intent to buy something, if there is a chance that you're going to buy something, then the owner or the salesman would want you to come in. If you go, let's say, into a Best Buy where there aren't any Jews working, presumably, so then you don't have a problem either. Because since the pasuk says, "V'lo tonu ish es amisa v'yaresa melechecha," as amisa means your fellow national, somebody from your am, it's the Jewish nation. This only applies between Jew and Jew. So if you want to fact check your lowest price and you go into Best Buy, you could probably be able to do that because you're not going to be probably leading on any Jews. Yeah. And,
What about the Kohen? Should it just be nice to Jews?
yeah, but this is not. Obviously, it's not that. I'm talking about what is usur and what is mutter. Is it a nice thing to do? No, it's not a nice thing. It's not a nice thing to lead anybody on, whether Jewish or not Jewish, right? I'm simply talking about, well, what is the isur of onat devarim, right? And the isur of onat devarim was one of the few mitzvahs. Any mitzvah ben adam lechavero is usually, by and large, a mitzvah ben Yisrael Yisrael. It's not between a Yisrael and a goy. Yeah.
Does this apply to non-monetary cases, like just leaving someone on for something else? Is that the same rule?
Yeah, that would, well, yeah, for sure, right? If you're leading somebody on just for a prank, right, that would also going to fall under the Isser, 100%. A good question. Let's go on to the next case that the Gemara gives, and I'm going to try to glean some practical applications from the Gemara. The next example that Gemara gives, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, what I underlined over there, the third to last line, Amar Rabbi Yochanan Shim ben Yochai, Gadol onos davar me'onos mamon. Right? Shazen ne'emar v'yaresim elokecha, v'zeh lo ne'emar v'yaresim elokecha. It says onos devarim is worse than onos mamon. Right? Remember, I started off with the famous adage, "Sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me," is completely an anti-Torah adage, sentence. Right? Why is that? Because the Gemara says right here, right? Onos devarim is worse even than onos mamon. Right? Because why? The Gemara says, "Zeh niten lehishavon v'zeh lo niten lehishavon." If you overcharge somebody, which you're not allowed to do, more than a sixth of the market value, the worst comes to worst. If you did the avera, what can you always do with money? Give it back. Niten lehishavon. It's able to be given back. You say a hurtful word to somebody, you embarrass somebody, you can say you're sorry from here till tomorrow, but it's very, very difficult for those hurtful words to be forgotten. Right? So it's not nitain lihishavon. It's not able to be returned. I want to scroll back a little bit to the beginning of the Gemara, where the Gemara says, all the way in the beginning, Ha-ketzad, what's onos devarim? Im hayab al tshuva al yomer lo zchor ma'asecha harishonim. Oh, don't you remember the good old days when you weren't religious, when you ate at McDonald's? Right? What's it like to eat a cheeseburger? Right? People get these questions all the time. Im hayab ben gerim, if somebody is a child of convert, Al Yomar Zchor Masecha Vasecha. Isn't it cool that that your grandmother goes to church? We are not able to bring these topics up if we don't know that they're okay necessarily with the person. I want to tell you a story that happened to me quickly. Some of you may know, Mr. Shiwitz over here is probably the only one that actually knows me from, maybe the lifers also, from when I was young. So I went to Hafter High School. And subsequently, I went to yeshiva, and I was in yeshiva university, and I learned very Baruch Hashem in a good shir, and I grew in my Torah, my learning, and I was in time for shidduchim. One of my friends got married. Maybe you had him. His name is Jeremy Fine, Rabbi Fine from Hal, if you remember. So I was at his wedding, and there was a rabbi table from the different rabbis from the 5 towns and our high schools that we went to. So I went over to the table to say hello, Shalom Aleichem, to the rabbi and rebbetzin that I was close with. And another rabbi and rebbetzin who knew who I was from the old days said to the whole crowd at the table, and she meant very well, the rebbetzin meant very well, but she says, "Oh, look at this boy," they used to call me Benji Stamen. Says, you know what he was in high school, and look at him now. Not that I was anything bad in high school, but and if the rabbis or rebbetzins, even going to a co-ed high school was something a little bit out of the ordinary. So the rebbetzin just said out loud to the entire table, "Look at this boy, now he's in shidduchim. You know where he was? I remember when he was in high school and he had longish hair, or whatever." Right? She meant very well to compliment me, but at the end of the day, it's usher to do that. Right? She didn't have my permission. I wasn't embarrassed. I was proud of where I came from. But the point is that she's not allowed. She wasn't allowed to do that. I forgive you, Rebbetzin, wherever you are. If you ever remember this, don't worry about it. But the point is that a person has to be very careful with saying things that people might not be okay with. You have to check it out with them first before you actually bring it up. Another case, the skipping down. The Sefer Chinuch, if you saw it, it's just really, the Sefer Chinuch is a wonderful sefer written presumably by the Ra'ah in the time of the Rishonim. We're not really sure who wrote it, but they think they attribute it to the Ra'ah. And what he wrote is a beautiful sefer. Sefer Chinuch is the reason for all of that 613 mitzvahs. He gave reasons for all of the mitzvahs. So in talking about Anas Devarim, he says it's obvious. The reason why HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the mitzvah of Anas Devarim, or the Isser, I should say, of Anas Devarim, is because he wants to have that Klal Yisrael has shalom between them, has peace between them. So he says that Chazal go out of their way to speak about all of these examples just to inculcate into ourselves the importance of being careful with our dibur, with our words. That being said, if you look at the Shulchan Aruch is a very interesting halacha. The Shulchan Aruch goes and says, well, according to this, it would be usher even to scare your friend. Hamavis es chaveru, source number 5. Alpha pisha cholo me'apachad, right? Potem medine odom v'chayav bedine shamayim. If you go and you scare somebody, that is an Isser De'araisa B'dinei Shamayim. Beis Din can't charge money for you, can't fine you for that. However, in Shamayim it's Usser. So, we think we play these games on people, right? These bits, as you guys call them, right? And if it's going to cause pain to somebody, it's Usser. It's Usser to do, because there's a moment in time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is, that they are freaking out, that they're scared about something that you made up, that you conjured up, only to say later on that it's a joke. But for those 5 minutes, it wasn't a joke for the person, right? Person comes in to Shraga the first day. You get here early, and you know that he's scared of cats. So you tell him that he's on the lowest floor, and the cats come into his, into the lobby all the time. Not that it really does, parents, it doesn't happen. But just let's say it did happen, right? So then you're just like trying to scare him because you know he's scared. And then you all laugh at him afterwards, 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, it's just a bit, we're just joking. But for those 5 minutes, he got scared. That's an Issa D'Oraisa, it caused him pain. Smoking, chas v'sholom, if somebody was smoking in the presence of people that are not comfortable with it or that could be hurt by it, secondhand smoke and the like, not that it applies by any Shraga boys here, but just putting it out there, that's also something. So you're causing somebody pain, right? You're causing another person pain. You're not even necessarily saying anything, right? But these are all things that if you cause somebody the slightest pain, it's going to be usher. I want to end, unless you have questions, which feel free to ask, I want to end with one more halacha and maybe a beautiful story. If you skip down to the Shulchan Aruch, the Sma, and the Tzitz Eliezer, and probably most guys didn't get to it, I assume, but skipping a line. You're in the grocery store, right, and you see your friend. He's in second in line, and you're going to be 10th in line, and you want to get out of there, and you start saying, hey, can I just give you my stuff, or just skipping the line in general. I was driving a Rav the other day, a very chashuv Rav in my neighborhood, and the guy cut us off, and he immediately said, that's usher to do, right? You're causing somebody else, forget about causing them the time that now that stop at the red light, and he got to go, right? But you have to think of all these things, causing somebody else pain. It's annoying to be cut off. It's annoying for you to cut a line. I'm waiting online, and all of a sudden you have a friend ahead of me, therefore you can go and take extra time. You're not allowed to do that. That's causing tsar. And that's what the Tzitz Eliezer in the source number 9 brings down, that if you cut the line, he's talking about a doctor's office. And he is medayik from the lashon of the Sma, that once the doctor comes, that's when the line actually forms. Meaning, if the doctor's not there yet, then it's just a nicety. It's a mensch. To be a mensch, you keep your number on the line. But the actual halacha of cutting somebody in line doesn't apply until the doctor would be there. But you should just understand that even if somebody gives you permission, and this happens all the time, if your friend gives you permission, it doesn't matter. Because it's not about your friend, it's about the 5 other people that are waiting behind him that aren't giving you permission. So if you go ahead without a care and you skip the line, besides the fact that it's a Chil Hashem, even if it's in Gourmet Glad, Chil Hashem is actually in front of other Jews, more so than by non-Jews even. It's by both, but we should just understand, we have to be very, very careful about that. I want to end with a beautiful story, since it is 6:44, I want to end on time in Miyake. So there's a beautiful story by Rosh Shlomo Zalman Auerbach Zatzal. I'm going to tell you the beautiful Maisa. There was a couple that came to ask him the following question. They, Baruch Hashem, had a son. They had a boy. A boy is born to this couple. And they wanted to name him Yehonatan after the father's father, after the new baby's grandfather. And it was very important for the father to call him Yehonatan. However, during the week between the birth and the Brit, unfortunately in their building there was a boy who passed away out of a sickness, and his name happened to be Yehonatan. So the mother went to Rav Shlomo Zalman, the couple, the mother and the father went to Rav Shlomo Zalman to ask the following question. Can we call our son Yehonatan, or is it a siman ra? Like the Gemara says that if somebody passes away in your chevra, or in your community, it's a bad omen for everybody. So they wanted to know, should we call him Yehonatan, or is that going to be a bad omen? Is that going to be a siman ra for our newborn son, and maybe we should not name him Yehonatan? So Rav Shlomo Zalman said to them, no, this is siman ra, you're not allowed to, you should not call him Yehonatan. Okay, so the family took the psak of Rav Shlomo Zalman, and he left. Rav Shlomo Zalman's Talmud was there, and said to Rav Shlomo Zalman, Rebbe, I know that there's no source for that. Why would you tell them that it's usr? It's not usr to do that. There's no such thing as a siman ra for these types of things. So Shlomo Zalman said, you're right. There is no source for it. But what do you think the parents of this child who passed away is going to feel every single time the mother screams down the stairs, Yehonatan, come up for dinner, Yehonatan, come up from the park, Yehonatan, come do your homework? Every single time that the mother or father screams out Yehonatan in the hallways of the building, those parents are going to feel tsar, the pain of remembering that their son was nifter, their Yehonatan was nifter, and that's why it's asr. Nothing to do with the siman ra, but everything to do with onas devarim, being careful about how you speak and not causing pain to somebody else. That being said, our midah in yeshiva that we are all working on together is that of dibur, right? And I can't think of anything more important for us to work on than thinking about onas devarim, remembering that our words have power, like the sword, and therefore we could use it chas v'shalom to destroy, but hopefully use it to bump people up, be mashpian and latov. Have a great night.